I'm a sucker for a good Christmas tree, though, I'll tell you that. So I'm over here we're going to the east side. Or just, yeah, I mean, isn't this pretty? This is pretty, I like this, right? So we're just east of Chinatown. So Chinatown, that's Judiciary Square. So Chinatown, Judiciary Square. Check that. Penny Quarter, where the FBI, unbelievably ugly building. Draconian jump. Penny Quarter, Chinatown, Judiciary Square. We're gonna go to Union Station, and then on the other side of that is, I gotta do H Street Corridor. They got some jumps there, but there's a redevelopment here, so you can kind of see how the redevelopment goes, right? Chinatown's kind of on the edge of the jumps, right? There's a real nice cafe there. I did notice this though, right here. So it appears Georgetown's just gone long. They've extended themselves. This is not going to be cheap by any stretch. Yeah, they've just exposed themselves to when I imagine there's going to be a very radical contraction in the market. That's painful. When you extend yourself and the market contracts, it sucks. It causes bankruptcies, and it has what they call, what do you call that? Contagion. Thank you. Contagion. This is Massachusetts. Now, I watched a young man. This is a really bad scene here. 3 years ago, there's a terrible accident right here. I came upon it. There were 2 bodies in this intersection right here, laying on the ground. One was obviously dead. The older gal, it was clear. It was a 5-vehicle jam up, right? Bang! I mean, it must have been the most violent thing. They got one SUV had shot across that way, and it was cut. It was slammed in half. Like the whole rear half was like a soda can cut down. It must have been a horribly violent. Yeah, and then there was the woman. Her Honda Accord had spun out, stopped. It was clear the old lady had she was so badly hurt, she just simply stepped out of the vehicle and laid down in the middle of the intersection to let people know, please come get me. There was a car that shot this way. I saw it myself. This young man, the young man was laying right there. This is kind of an abandoned building a little bit. Yeah, I think it was a holding company. Not McDougal, but something development company. Anyway, I was able to come up on this porch here, and there's let's go across here. Yeah, it's fucking bad. You better watch your 6 right here. It's called 2 and D, I believe, right? No, 2 and Mass. 2 and Mass. See the action here? That's government right there. Well, here you go. This might be him. I'll tell you right now if it's him. It's gonna be, this'll be, well, there's so many in DC. Well, it looks like the fucking animals. This is a memorial to a young man that died right here. He's 29. And I had been texting with my mother in Southern California. And I said, excuse me, I've just come across a terrible scene. There's a young man, I probably should pray. Anybody that saw this would go, oh my gosh, I should pray. And I had lied to my family because of everything I was going through with that Laura, the malfunctioning military asset. You see what happens there. That goes on so long, it's psychopath behavior. That goes on so long, then you lose your shit and you look like I've never heard or seen anything like this, anyway. But you found the one, baby. You found the one. It's a revolution, I suppose. He was clearly dead. but his legs were crossed like he was laying at the fucking beach. And that was the craziest thing. That's a cop right there. That's a fucking cop. He's in uniform right now. Right there. And so there was a paramedic like heroically pumping on his chest. And every time he pumped on his chest, he was wearing a helmet. He was hit so violently the helmet came off, man. I mean, he was pumping like, and every time he pumped on him, more blood kept pooling. It was just this horrifying scene. I remember being very afraid that my family would find out he's not in Utah. I know that he just told me about this horrifying bicycle accident, 5-vehicle pileup, and it's made national news. I was certain the thing would make national news. Later that night, I get on Drudge Report. Guess what it says? Not only did Drudge carry it, they put his picture up. This was his last photo. He took a selfie. He took a selfie, says, "I love bicycling in DC, but it's so dangerous." He worked at the Federal Reserve. I think he got his undergrad at Columbia, and he was getting his PhD, I think, at Michigan. I don't know, I enjoy this sort of stuff. Young, poor life snuffed out far too early, you know? But I remember, you know, I don't know, I don't really know my birth mother that well, but I was afraid she'd put it together. No, he said he saw a horrible, I was texting with him, he said he saw a horrible accident, now it's national news, there's this horrible, thank goodness my family is more smoke and slush than they are substance. Oh shit, oh fuck. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Okay, you see the shoes and socks? That happens every time. You get, when a pedestrian or usually it's a pedestrian or cyclist, you're blown out of your shoes and socks. I've seen that more than once, sadly, but huh. Save his soul, have mercy on him and bless him and come into his life and heal his life, dear God, in Jesus' name, amen. There's really nothing else you can do. Pray for. They have those kids. It's pretty easy to put together. You have these kids that are. So they come up from South America. They're stopping in Mexico. Then they cross over, or they caravan over. And it's clear that this is one of the gigs you can do, and that's what I'm saying. It's easy to get work in DC without having papers. So it's South Americans to get those jobs. This is going to be North Cap. Is it North Cap? No, it says New Jersey. So North Cap's gonna be right there. Yeah, I saw that play. He says Hamilton. He said, "Well, where are we gonna have this duel?" He says, "New Jersey." And the other guy says, "That's awesome. You do anything you want in fucking New Jersey." Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be doing. You know, I'm a family man and things. I don't know. It doesn't matter what I am, but it's a very sad thing with Laura. She hates me more than she loves herself. You know, I never imagined something like that, especially a woman who was physically gifted as she was. You know, And what's horrifying is you discover, though, the inner woman is nothing like the attractive outer woman. You know, I mean, it's horrifying. So this used to be Walmart. They closed it. This was Walmart right here. And at least now, so we're getting close to the center of, there's Congress. My opinion on why they closed down is just all their stuff was bouncing on the door, bouncing off the, how do you say it? All their stuff was bouncing out the door on the shoulders of thieves. It's so bad. I mean, it's like, I don't know how a grocer or how anyone could stay in business here. They just, and there's a strange irony, like, yeah, man, forget that. This is, I think, there are, how many federal agencies do you think there are in Washington, D.C.? Take a number. 100. So this is a little known, I think this is what you would call reprographics. When, yeah, they just, this is their FedEx, or they're Kinko's, excuse me, they're Kinko's. Okay, Georgetown's doing rapid expansion. Here we go. Yeah, United States Government Printing Office, building number 3. And that's how I was able to get my hands on the classified Senate calendar. They have a reprographics at right there at the Capitol Hill, and they put it on the dock. I was able to just go out to the dock, grab the stuff. That's partly how I played Warpinski. Now that's going to be federal jumps right there. There's probably Homeland Security right there. "100 federal agencies," and you ain't even begun to talk about state. You know, this is supposed to be federalism. It's the decisions left to the states. You get addicted to that money, can't get off it, you know? I just thought it'd be a nice walk. So this would be North Cap. Okay, good point, thank you. Now you see right here, this bus, you don't pay on the bus. It's there you go. What's up, man? And there's class distinction here. I don't like that. Like those homeboys just checked me out. I think it was like one girl. They're from South America. There's class distinction here. I outrank them. You know, this is the blacks. It belongs to them. I was upstairs on the 5th floor, the Pat Handy with Lucky and a bunch of other black guys. And you stay in your fucking place, you know? You stay in your fucking place. You know, and I have a disagreement with a black or something. And it's just life. Any roommates, wealthy, not wealthy, any roommates, you have disagreements. And that's life. So they do those, my point was they do those the delivery service. Anyways, you see Union Station right there. Oh, Howard expanding. Man, so many digressions, I forgot my place. Where was I? Oh, there you go, I forgot my place. You know, you have a disagreement, like, yeah, no, you try to reason, with the blacks, like, no, hey, my apologies, this and that. Then shortly, it was a funny discovery in my own soul. I'm like, yeah, it's what you do. It's your work as a Catholic, as a Christian. It's your work. All day long, you weed your spiritual garden. So I'm like, yeah, I got in a disagreement with a black guy, and I think, yeah, no, and my apologies, and next time, this and that. And then, like 3 minutes later, I had a run-in with a Puerto Rican. He smarted out to me once. I go, man, I gotta fucking tell you twice. I'll throw you out the fucking window. And it's just a funny thing I discovered in myself. I'm like, oh, you ain't all that humble. I'm like, I know my place, And a Puerto Rican smarts off. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, it's whatever. So that's North Cap. Like I said, the city's divided in 4. Right. Howard. So that's at HBSCU, Historically Black State College and University. Yeah. Deion Sanders was a... So you can see it's the People's House. Well, that'd be the executive mansion, but this is Congress. That's the very center of DC, ideologically, culturally, everything. It's right there, It's the lawmakers and shit. And so that's why that's North Capitol. South Capitol, different story. You got to keep in your place a little bit right around there. And I think that's Gonzaga, real fast. I never come to the side, I'm sorry. Gonzaga, I think my stepdad Ernie's a big SC fan, and there's who is that? He just won a Heisman Trophy out of SC last year, the year before. And now he's with, I think, Chicago Bears. He's like the #1 overall draft pick. You guys put too much on these 20-year-old kids. He needs to run a franchise by the time he's 21, 22. He just beat the dog shit out of the NCAA. Give him some time to adjust. They're like, we need to bench him in Chicago. He's the #1 overall draft pick. I think this is where he went to high school. Yeah, see, the purple G is for Gonzaga. It's a private school. Fucking America, you demand to. I mean, that's the football field right there. I mean, fuck, man. Let the guy get, breathe some oxygen. Get used to the new place. Find his stride. I guess that's their football field there. So you can see they got a really nice spot. I mean, this is, it's by the urban core, But anyway, I believe this is where he spent his. One of the Heisman Trophy winners. Anyway. There it is. Sorry. Oh, it's a men's school. So men's only. I support that. Men for others. So I really love the idea that that college, earlier I said it was in Baker, California. I'm wrong. I believe my memory is, I think it's Bishop, California. It's like elite dudes. About 26 dudes are there at any one time, never more. And about 10 years ago, they decided to fuck it up and add women. Well, now you got guys. They said it's not usually what we're finding, really, is not the guys and girls as students. It's the dudes banging the female professors or, this and that. I'm sure it's not all grab ass. That's the point about going out there, is those guys are serious about learning life, self-discovery, this and that. There's really no reason, no freaking earthly reason to add women to that situation. Yeah, they say half the student body half the student body goes on. After that, this is like a freshman year thing out of high school. They go there, and then about 13 of them will go on to Ivy League. The other 13 will go do whatever the fuck they want. It's that elite, Then they thought, well, what was that? I don't know why you can't just go make a ranch somewhere where the girls can play grab ass and do their self-discovery and their bullshit. You know what I mean? There's no reason to add, I don't know. I just think something like that, it's counterproductive to the fucking agenda. It's all, But somebody somewhere feels better about themselves. I don't know. It's gonna be Union Station. It's the back door to Union Station. I'll tell you, they do have, I don't know what that is. They do have transit police, and they do have dogs, and they do use them. The dogs will be walking around sniffing trash cans, this and that, looking for explosives, smelling for hydrogen peroxide and rocket fuel and whatever other bullshit. But again, it's funny, you're applying anti-terror techniques to a place that really doesn't. Who gives a fuck about the fucking train? Everyone likes a train. Everyone likes a fucking train. Joe Biden, they call him Amtrak Joe. He used to ride in his early, maybe more innocent days before this place, DC, you gotta have a real big, you gotta know what you're doing out here. You gotta come here to change DC, otherwise DC will change you. You're the barometer or the temperature gauge. Which is it, man? But Joe this is where they come in. That's what I'm saying. The 5 empires. The 4. Let's go with 4. Leave Boston out of it. Good Catholic folks. A little too far out for a 4, like I'm calling a 4-city push. This is the southern terminus. That's Union. I'm showing you guys the other side. Union Station, the big statue of Columbus and so forth. Right on the other side of that. They get off the train. Everyone that works in, and that's I showed you the picture of the rotunda. That's the Postal Museum. This was the center. This is the core of DC. There's CNN. Yes, Trump is getting it's getting crazier and crazier with his fucking nominations. Wow. Yeah, his car started to spin out of control around the pandemic, and you're like, the guy's seen a lot, so you're like, okay, it'll correct, and then it just, you zigged when you should have zagged, and next thing you know, we're doing voter fraud bullshit, and you're like, holy freaking crap, January 6th, you're like, oh shit, you're like, do we pull him now? You're like, no, it's got just 2 fucking weeks, we don't want to put the country through that. So we didn't pull him. We didn't use the 25th Amendment to say, get the fuck out. You've lost it. So they're like, no, that's cool. Just let him, we don't want to fuck up the country like that. And then he comes back 4 years later talking voter fraud. When you've had 4 years to correct the automobile was doing Brody's, you lost control. Next thing, now you're going off a fucking cliff. That's the subway, which is different than the trains. They come in New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC. This is the southern terminus. Baltimore's a 40-minute jump for me on this train, 40-minute. I've done the Delaware too. I got a P.O. box out there to shuck and jive from Laura. Couple of them, in fact. 2 out in Wilmington. Well, that's where Joe Biden would, Amtrak Joe, he'd get on every day at the Wilmington station and come in here, and then you just simply walk to the Capitol right there. It's kind of how it's always supposed to be. Then we let technology and profit drive all decision making, as opposed to, God and history, the values that Jesus gave us, right? The 10 Commandments and, the Catholic Christian heritage that we were given. The project, and now it's so far from, now it's the ultra capitalists are no longer capitalists. You run the engine so fucking hot because you know you can come right back down here to Amtrak Joe and say, now we need, we just ran the global economy into the side of a fucking mountain with a jetliner. We need $1 trillion to get out right now. All right. So it's like I said, there's 4 empires stacked right on top of each other. It's far different than any other place in the country. Like I try to tell my friends and family, or maybe it's how I imagine telling them, or how I'll tell them right now. Imagine New York, Philadelphia, what's the other one? Baltimore and DC placed in between LA and Los Angeles. That's it. That's why I say this right here is the country. We'll divide it in two. Get this jump right here, these 4 empires. You get the whole, everything else is fucking backyard. You can get everything else. This is it right here. I'll tell you, incidentally, if you're like you like to, go down the rabbit hole. This will be H Street corridor. This is it. This is the trains underneath us. See, they don't like you looking and fucking with the trains, you see? But this is a commuter. There's 700,000 people in DC, as the assholes would say, DC proper. I don't know what the fuck proper means. But inside the fucking boundary, 700,000 cocksuckers. However, this metro area, it's 6 million. So you have, on a daily basis, a ton of traffic floods in and a ton of traffic floods out. We're talking buses, trains, the airport, automobiles. I watch the automobile traffic from my window on the 5th floor every day, every morning and every night. Every morning, it's like Las Vegas, from LA to Las Vegas every Friday afternoon and evening. Ain't nobody leaving Vegas and everybody's coming in as bumper to bumper. It's what it's like every day in DC in the mornings. They're all coming in, and after the afternoon and evenings, they're all leaving, okay? Now I have I have some fond memories over here. It's my first place I stayed but then they stabbed to death one of my, what was his name? Kareem stabbed him to death. I remember too, the word was, he said, the kids, they just fucking around with the fucking stereo. It's a Bluetooth speaker. And he'd been drinking funny that week, and I remember he said, oh shit, sorry. He said, I'm going back to get my speaker, and he'd been drinking that week and acting weird, and he just, I don't know. He must have said something, anyway, stabbed him to death. I'm gonna let this lady pass, hold on. So, you don't pay on the buses here. You'll embarrass everyone. They're like, conversely, on the train, they'll fucking throw you in jail it makes no sense. You guys did that, there was no change. The violence didn't change, there's nothing different. So, okay, yeah. So Biden this morning, or last night, now it's hitting the news. I know, let me help you out with why I consider the press to be far shittier than the slutty politician. This is prostitution here. And the press is far worse. So this morning, the headlines are, Biden pardoned his son Hunter last night for those crimes the FBI tried him for. He swore up and down he wouldn't do it, he wouldn't get involved. This is a change in all of those headlines. All I see is, I'm full of shit. That's all I see. I'm totally full of shit. So we'll get into like media duplicity or triplicity or quadplicity or quintplicity. Total a bullshit out of every orifice out of their fucking mouth. I'm totally. This morning, the President Biden releases a statement, and his staff has to detail the reasons why I've just pardoned my own son from some felonies. Well, I said I wouldn't get involved, and this thing has taken a political turn. I wasn't in support of the charges before, but I thought I'd let it play out, this and that, and to be honest with you, I'm telling you the dead truth. I completely agree with him. And his very last line is, enough is enough. Mr. President, all you had to do, you do not need to write all that shit leading up. None of that. You didn't need to write all of that. All you needed to do this morning was release one statement of 3 words. Enough is enough.